Anyone could say that about anything, though. If people,
no, I'm ready to.
Like,
I'm ready to demonstrate
a sky daddy that reincarnated as a man, but he's also the spirit, the mother. So, it's like,
so there you don't even know what Christian theology teaches. So showing that you're confused. So you have no idea what we even believe. So again,
I get into it a lot. I mean, the Trinity.
You have no idea what you're talking about.
Here's the thing: I don't discredit any of that. I think that every religion has some piece that is true. That inspires
so let's talk about that.
In everyone.
Okay, how do you know that proposition right there is true?
Because, and here's the thing: there's actually starting to be physical evidence of these giant megaliths that no one knew how it was built.
How does megaliths tell you that proposition's true? You don't even understand what I'm asking.
Every divine city that had any,
you don't even know what I'm talking about. No clue what I'm talking about. The proposition that there's truth in all the religions. I said, how do you know that proposition's true? Let's go to that. Let's start with that's your start.
Let me explain though. Let me explain.
Do you understand that your answers? Can
I explain?
No, because your answers are not explaining how that proposition's true.
You're not letting me get to it though.
Because it's not an answer.
There are ancient, sophisticated pyramids on every
that doesn't answer you don't even understand the argument.
And the old what?
I'm gonna boot you until you demonstrate to me that you understand the argument I'm making.
Okay.
You made a claim that all the world religions have truth in them. That's your starting point, right? I want to know how you, as an individual, know that is true. When you start going to the ancient world religions, that's your interpretation of the ancient world religions. That doesn't tell me that proposition is true. I want to know how you know that.
Language. It's all our interpretations.
All of our interpretations. It's not. The main. That's not true. That's false. Language. It is not all of our interpretations. All of the human beings do not interpret that to be true. So that's not a thing that you can appeal to.
Basically, a census thing. Like many humans believe this is right. Many humans believe this is wrong.
Yeah. So that is not. So that's a fallacy. That's fallacy.
How?
Because it doesn't.
I mean, you could watch the laws in America, a Christian country, change overnight. I mean, one century.
You don't even know what we're talking about. You literally. You're just talking. You're just talking. Do you know what you don't even understand what I'm asking for. I want epistemic justification for the claim. Do you know what that means?
I'm not a big word guy, bro.
These aren't good arguments. It's not about the words. It's about bad arguments. Do you understand that?
I feel like you're blocking it out a little bit, bro. I mean, there's evidence of ancient, sophisticated technology all around the world. No one knows who did it.
None of that. Even if that's true, you don't understand.
Sky gods coming down.
You don't understand. Even if that's true, it doesn't prove the first proposition. How does?
But you could look at the evidence. It's like an 80-ton stone lifted into a complex.
You don't even understand the argument.
Why did they do this? And those religions are going all the way back to Thoth, the Atlantean priest king. All of that stuff.
Dude, this is all gibberish, and it doesn't prove the.
You're talking about solar worship through Christianity, which is a pagan thing. It's a pagan thing. And you guys, you're like, oh, where's all the pagan? Where are all the pagan roots? Where did it go? You're not even
at that level one of understanding what the argument even is. You have no clue what you're talking about. And so I ask you basic questions, and you fly off into these claims about megaliths that has nothing to do with justifying the claim.
Megaliths. It's right there on the planet.
It's right there on the planet. Do you understand that that's? Do you understand that that is
really a bunch of Jewish people with ropes dragging things around?
Do you understand that that's not an? You don't even. What do you think an argument is? Do you think it's just spouting out megalith stuff? That's an argument for. Do you understand that that doesn't justify the claim?
No, but I'm going back to these teachings that go that.
None of that. You're not addressed. It's not an argument. Do you not understand? It's a fallacy. All the things that you're saying in logic are fallacious moves.
What do you mean?
Exactly. So if you're going to make these arguments, you need to learn those things first. What do I mean?
Let me make sure.
You don't even know. Do you know?
I have more written down on my paper. Do you want to go through
You have things written down. Dude, if you don't know what a fallacy is, what's on your paper is not going to do anything for you.
You're like a vocab guy. What are you doing? It's like I'm giving you an actual
vocab guy.
Thought, and you're going, you don't know this word. You're an idiot. That's not a debate either. You're an epological fallacy. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah. I mean, I have all these questions.
You're just making an idiot of yourself, man. I'm sorry, you're making an idiot of yourself.
Why did Jesus tell you to love your slave master?
Epathetical. That's not even that's not even a word. Epathetical fallacies.
No, that's what I'm making an impression of you talking about.
Yeah, but you're just making yourself look silly.
Understand that?
You're making yourself look silly.
I'm giving you some real shit. Look, I listen
Can you
to.
can you tell me what a
you
fallacy
You
is?
say like the teaching of duality.
Can you
not
tell me
being
what a
valid.
fallacy is? Because you don't know the basics of philosophy, and that if you're going to make arguments,
Basics of philosophy.
you need to know these things.
I'm giving you my stance, and you're going. You don't know this vocab. How do you not
It's
know
not the vocab. You don't know the vocab or what the vocab
you read
means.
books. You've read like 1,000,000 books. I'm trying to get some knowledge, and you're going. You don't know this word. What the hell, bro?
You're trying to make an argument. You're too dumb to even know what we're talking about. You're trying to make an argument.
This is the thing. You Christians, you guys are so dumb. You guys are so dumb. Thousands of religions before you guys got all
So you're
murderous
spurging
and
out.
forgery.
Do you
And
know?
now
Do
everyone
you
else
know
is dumb
what a
because they don't
fallacy
understand
is?
a vocab word.
You can't even tell me what a fallacy is. What is it?
Bro, I'm not a book nerd. I haven't.
Yeah, so you just made a complete. This is what masonry gets you. This is what masonry gets you. Is this?
Oh, because they.
It's a complete goofus. Good grief. Oh my gosh. So you notice how people just like spurg out? You keep asking them the same questions. He doesn't even understand what a non sequitur is. And then he gets his feelings hurt because he thinks I'm using big words to like insult him or something. If you're going to make arguments, you have to abide by the rules of argumentation. Those aren't arbitrary. They're not fancy words that people just made up to sound smart. It's just like playing chess. There's rules to chess. So likewise, in argumentation, there's rules to argumentation. And he doesn't even know that. He doesn't even know what a fallacy is. Just complete nonsense. So we see by this example that Freemasonry and the philosophy of Freemasonry and reading Manly P. Hall, who, by the way, is a complete goofus. If you listen to his lectures on astrology, he ends the whole lecture course by saying that, by the way, the purpose of this whole lecture course is to get you to believe in socialism in the United Nations. So we're opening up to people who disagree. If you have an argument, and an argument is not arguing. It's not machine gunning out idiocy about megalithic marvels, which have nothing to do with whether the proposition that you started your argument with is true. See, maybe there are aliens and megalithic marvels and all this stuff, but that doesn't mean that the first proposition that all the world religions have truth in them. I just want to know how you know that that's true. Maybe it is true. How do you know it's true? Well, megalithic marvels. That doesn't prove that proposition. I mean, it's like, let's take an epistemology 101 class. You quit bitching about big words. I mean, come on, dude. You're an adult. If you want to be an adult and be treated like an adult, don't come bitching about me using big words. Learn the big words. It's ridiculous. So you people that spurg out, like you can't even walk them through an argument. They're like blah, 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 there's like, I don't know, a blender. They're like Taz, right? Like spinning in a circle, like Taz, the freaking Hanna-Barbera whatever character. Well, hey, dude, if you don't like what we talk about over here, it's fine. Pink Sherpa? It's probably because I don't have a beard, because really the only way to be orthodox is like how long your beard is. Like the length of the beard is literally like the test of the orthodoxy. Pink Sherpa, what's up?
Hey, how are you? You're a character.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, you are. You're cracking me up. All right, so I have a question. It's interesting because, like, I went to, like, I'm Roman Catholic, and I went to, like, a catechism class after Mass today while my kid was at religious ed. And we actually were going over this section of the catechism regarding ordination, and then, when a priest does something heinous, their capability of still performing, like, the substantiation and all that stuff. So, but that's not what I wanted to ask you. I had a question that was actually something I was going to ask in my class today, but I realize it pertains not only to Roman Catholicism, but also possibly Orthodox Christianity. And that is, like, Okay, so this is hard for me to articulate, but recently I was reading through, and I don't remember which part of the Bible it's in, but it's when Jesus rebukes the rabbis in the temple. That's like a pretty big event, right? And chastises them for a million things. But when I read that, I hear a message that is pretty much eternal, that in all of your rituals, you can still be completely defunct. And that at that point in history, I won't speak about it today, but at that point in history, they had just lost all meaning behind all of the rituals that they were performing. And, you know...
Yeah, I mean, many of the prophets say this. Isaiah says this. Jeremiah says this. You approach me with, hardened hearts.
My question is then, and I was going to pose this in the class today, but we didn't get to it. We got stuck on another topic. But is, how do we walk that line? Because I feel like sometimes we lose perspective when we do these kind of debates, which believe me, I believe in our rights. I sense that you have some hostility to the Catholic Church. I personally would like to see us reunified at some point in history. I mean, probably won't live to see that day, but I would like to see, the churches unified again. So I don't have any hostilities at all towards Eastern Orthodox, any of the Eastern Rite churches.
Okay, but the problem is that the reunification requires us to join into a spiritual communion with Pope Francis and the rest of the goblins in Rome, and that's the problem.
Okay. Well, you don't need to insult me.
How was I insulting you by saying the goblins in Rome?
Because you're calling the people that I care about very much, you're calling them goblins. And whether or not you...
Yeah, but have you read Fiducia Supplicans? I mean, they're promoting Skittles.
You haven't even answered my question. And see, this is...
I mean, I'm not mad at you. I'm just asking you a question.
Bro. If you want to, keep it above board.
Look, I'm not mad at you. I'm asking you. Look,
but,
you're the one. Hey, look, I'm not mad. I'm just asking you a question about.
But you're just curtailed insults at me. I mean, I was going to ask you an honest question.
The question: are you a goblin in Rome? You're not a cardinal.
That's where you lose your credibility, is because you can't just come and have like a interreligious dialogue. It boils down to a dispute over rituals.
You took it's not a dispute over rituals. You took
begs the question.
Why don't you calm down? You're the one that's upset. You're yapping. Listen, calm down for a second. Just chill.
No, I know you want to control your show, but you do need to let me speak.
I'm explaining something. I'm explaining something to you. I'm not stopping you from speaking.
You go ahead and try and explain something to me.
I'm not stopping you from speaking. I'm explaining that if I criticize the goblins in Rome, you shouldn't take that personal. I'm talking about corrupt people in Rome. That's not you personally.
Okay, but that doesn't answer my question, and you're kind of begging the question when you curtail insults instead of trying to have an interreligious...
That's called rhetoric. Are you familiar with rhetoric? It's where you joke in the midst of making an argument.
One, I'm a lawyer, and two, I majored in philosophy, and I went to Catholic schools for 16 years, and I have a law degree, so I really know what rhetoric is.
Well, you can tout your... Right, so joking is part of rhetoric.
If you're mature enough, I would like to hear your perspective on that very narrowly tailored question, which you don't want to address.
I'm happy to address any of your arguments, and I do it all the time, every day. First of all,
religious leaders,
listen, I know that you're used to spouting out, but this is not your show, so chill out. Chill out for a second. Just stop yapping for a second, and I'm happy to answer your question.
I won't, because I'm trying to restate my question that I would like you to answer. And Can
I point out that there's a thing I disagree with? I disagree with the way you worded it, that it's a disagreement of rituals. It's not a disagreement of rituals. It's a disagreement of the theology. That's the first point. So it's not just rituals.
Okay, keep talking. It sounds like you're on the right track. You're actually trying to answer the question now.
Yeah, I've always been answering the question, but I like to make jokes when I answer the question because that's part of rhetoric. You should know that. You're a lawyer. You have degrees, right?
Are you trying to curtail insults again?
You're a lawyer. You started touting your credentials. You said you know rhetoric. Doesn't rhetoric include jokes and jabs?
I'm supposed to be a theologian. I mean, you should understand how to be respectful in a debate.
I know.
right?
I don't claim to be a theologian. I've debated the top people in the world. So if you want to talk about credentials, I'm one of the top debaters out there.
Okay, bro.
I mean, is that true or false?
You're a real funny character. You're a character.
Is it true or false? Are you aware of that?
I'm not answering your questions. I'm asking you the question. So go on and talk about it. I mean, it's a legitimate question. I'm interested in hearing your perspective, minus the insults.
Again,
if you can do that, if you're mature enough, if you can let go of your
husband, you can't
Roman Catholic Church.
So if I make a joke about, listen, if you said that my patriarch was a corrupt goblin, I wouldn't take that personally. I would agree with you. Do you see the difference there? That you took personal something that wasn't about you.
I'm not answering your questions. I'd like you to answer mine.
I mean, I think in your mind you think this is a law court. It's not. It's a open forum discussion. So what's your question?
No.
What's your question? What's your question? Are you going to unmute and ask your question? You've complained about me making a joke. What's your question? So you're not going to state your question. Hello, you're still here. Unmute. What's your question? I'm enjoying this. This is actually fun. Pink Sherpa, are you there? What is your question? So the point is that the papacy promotes today Skittles topics, which is a complete contradiction to previous papal teaching. So that's why I have such a disdain for the papacy, is that I think it's an organized crime institution. And you took personal something that wasn't personally about you. Are you going to come back on, or are you just going to sit here muted? All right. We're going to move on from that.